Knowing why you write matters more than almost anything else you'll figure out on this journey. More than your outline, more than your platform, more than your publishing path. Because your why is the thing that has to carry you through every single hard day. And, spoiler alert, there will be hard days. Hey everyone, welcome back to Your Right Life Coach, the podcast for heart-led authors who are ready for motivation and momentum. This is Alice, and today I have a question for you. It sounds simple, but it is not simple. Why are you writing? Not what are you writing, not when will you finish, but why? What compels you? What actually compels you, pulls you out of bed, keeps that document open on your desktop even when you're scared of it? What compels you to write in the first place? I'm asking because I think most of us never really answer this question. We just assume. We assume we know why. And I want to challenge that assumption today because I got it wrong twice. And because really being in touch with why you write is foundational to your momentum. So let's talk about it. I want to take you back to when I was a teenager because that's where my why started. I loved to read. I seriously loved it. You know, the kind of love where you're up past midnight with a flashlight under the covers because you have to know what happens next. Yeah, that kind of love. And somewhere in all that reading, I got fascinated by something else entirely. Not just the stories, but the craft underneath them. How did an author take 26 letters and a handful of punctuation marks and make me laugh out loud while curled up in a cozy chair by the fireplace? How did they string words together in an order that captivated my attention so well? Well, I was good at English class. Grammar made total sense to me. Writing papers came easily. Teachers wrote nice things in the margins. And then I did the math a lot of us do at 16. I love reading. I'm good at English. Therefore, I should be a writer. But guess what? That is not actually how the math works. And I didn't know that yet. I had zero idea what a writer's life actually looked like. The discipline of it, the rejection of it, the sheer number of blank pages between I want to write and I have written something someone else wants to read. I just had a feeling and a good grade in English, and I built a whole identity on top of that. I think a lot of us do that, actually, not just with writing. We confuse being good at something with being called to something. Those are not the same. Being good at English told me I had an ear for language. It did not tell me why I wanted to use it or what I wanted to spend my one life saying. I skipped right past that question and went straight to the identity called I'm a writer. I hadn't earned that title yet. I hadn't even asked myself if it was true. Fast forward to adulthood. The dream shifted the way dreams do. Now I wasn't thinking about writing because I love stringing words together. I was thinking about it because I'd started noticing what best-selling authors' lives looked like from the outside. Book tours, movie deals, their names on spines in every bookstore. And I thought, well, if they can make great money doing this, why not me? I want to let you in on how that turned out. I found out that make money as a writer is a much easier sentence to say than a plan to execute. I started looking at what it would actually take. And more importantly, I started being honest with myself about whether chasing that kind of income was even the thing that would fulfill me. And the truth I landed on was probably not in the long run. Here's what I mean by that. When I really took a good look at the fantasy, the book tours, bestseller lists, a big number on a royalty statement, I noticed something. The part I actually wanted wasn't the money itself. It was what I thought the money would prove, that I'd made it, that the teenage vision of me who fell in love with reading had been right to believe in this. Once I saw that, I could separate the two things, the actual desire underneath, which was real and worth honoring, and the specific vehicle I'd attached it to, which wasn't the only way to get there. I didn't want to write toward a royalty statement. I wanted a steady income first, something dependable under my feet, and I wanted to be close to books, close to the world of writing, close to authors and their stories. That's when I decided I wanted to be an editor. I know that might sound like I'm telling you a story about giving up on a dream, but I'm not. This is a story about finding out what my actual why was underneath the assumptions I'd been carrying around since I was 16. And I am so, so glad I went in that direction. Nearly 30 years in this industry, hundreds of manuscripts, and I've gotten to live inside the world of books every single day, not just in the way teenage me pictured it. And here's what I've come to see clearly from the editor's side of the desk. I am far from the only person who's built a writing dream on a squishy foundation and had to go back and rebuild it. I've worked with countless writers over the years in coaching calls, in the middle of a developmental edit, in the messy first draft stage where everything still feels possible. Writers who are operating on a why they never actually chose. They inherited it. Somebody told them once that they were talented, or that they should write a book about their life, or that publishing was the natural next step after a successful career, and they just kept walking in that direction without ever turning around and asking, wait, why am I doing this? Some of them get 3 chapters in and stall out completely. And when we dig into it together, it's almost never a craft problem. It's a why problem. The engine underneath the whole project was never actually theirs. And here's the twist, because there's always a twist. I have a book coming out with my name on the cover next year. Will it make me rich? Nope. I can tell you that with total confidence. Absolutely not. But writing it has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. And marketing it, which terrifies me quite a bit, is going to be its own kind of growth. I didn't write this book because I finally cracked the code on how to make money as an author. I wrote it because decades into this industry, I finally know exactly why I'm doing it. And that knowing changes everything about how it feels to do the work. Which brings me to what I want to share with you today. First of all, knowing why you write matters more than almost anything else you'll figure out on this journey. More than your outline, more than your platform, more than your publishing path. Because your why is the thing that has to carry you through every single hard day. And spoiler alert, there will be hard days. I've watched this play out over and over in my publishing career. 2 authors, same genre, same skill level, same rough manuscript quality on day 1. One of them finishes and the other one doesn't. And 9 times out of 10, when I trace back to what actually separated them, it wasn't talent, it was clarity. The one who finished knew, somewhere in their bones, why this particular book had to exist and why they were the one to write it. The one who didn't finish was writing toward something a little foggier, a vague sense that they should, or that someone else expected it of them, or that it might lead somewhere good eventually. Fog doesn't carry you through a revision at 11 o'clock at night. Clarity does. Let me break this down into something you can actually use. I want to walk through a few of the real reasons people write, and I want you to notice, honestly, without judgment, which one resonates with you. Some people write to communicate. There's something inside them, an idea, an experience, a way of seeing the world that they cannot fully express any other way. Writing is a container big enough to hold it. I think of the authors who come to me with a concept they've been chewing on for years, sometimes decades, and the moment they finally get it onto the page, something in their countenance shifts. Not because the book is finished, it's nowhere near finished, but because the thing that was stuck is finally moving. Now, some people write to be heard. That's different from communicating, and it's worth distinguishing the difference. This isn't just, I have something to say or I have a story to tell. It's, I need someone to receive it. I want someone to witness what I've lived through. A lot of the most powerful memoirs I've edited came from this place. The author needed to know their story landed somewhere outside their own head, that it wasn't too much, that someone else could hold it alongside them and possibly benefit from it. If this is your why, friend, I want you to know there's nothing small about it. Wanting to be received is one of the most human desires there is. Other people write to be noticed. I want to pause here because I think we're taught to be a little ashamed of this one. Like wanting recognition makes your writing less pure somehow. I don't believe that. Wanting to be seen is deeply human. The question isn't whether that desire is present. It's whether you're honest about it, so it doesn't quietly run the whole show without your permission. Because here's what happens when this why goes unexamined. You start making decisions based on what will get attention instead of what's true. And you can feel it in your writing. Readers can feel it too, even if they can't name what's off. Some people write to contribute something, to leave the world a little more equipped, a little more comforted, a little less alone than they found it. This is often the why underneath teaching-oriented nonfiction, underneath the parenting book, the faith book, the leadership book. There's a generosity to it. These are often the authors I watch push through the hardest revision seasons because the motivation isn't finished for me, it's finished for the reader who needs this. And some people write to leave a legacy. They're thinking about the grandchild who won't be born for another 20 years, or the reader they'll never meet long after they're gone. They want to outlive their life. This why has a kind of eternity built into it. I worked with a woman once, and I'm changing the details here to protect her privacy. She was writing down her family's story specifically so a great-granddaughter she would probably never meet would someday know where she came from. That book was never going to be anywhere near a bestseller list. It didn't need to. It was never trying to. And then here's the one I hear most often from the authors I work with, the one that doesn't neatly fit into a category. They write because they feel called, compelled, like the story or the message chose them, not the other way around. And the only way to get relief from carrying it is to get it onto the page. If that's you, you probably already know it. You felt that itch that doesn't go away no matter how long you ignore it. Here's what I want you to notice. None of these are wrong. I made money the villain in my own story for a minute there, and it isn't. Wanting to earn a living from your writing is completely a legitimate why. But it's worth knowing whether it is your why, because if it's not, and you build your whole identity around it anyway, the way I almost did, you're going to feel a low hum of disappointment even when things are technically going fine. And I want to ground this in something real because I don't want to just hand you a feeling. I want to hand you the actual landscape you're stepping into. In 2023, the Authors Guild ran the most comprehensive authors' income study we have, surveying nearly 5,700 published authors. What they found was that the median book income for all authors, traditionally published and self-published combined, was $2,000 a year. $2,000. When you add in every other writing-related income stream, speaking, teaching, editing work, that median only climbs to $5,000. However, the top 10% of established authors in that same survey had a median book income of $275,000. So the range is enormous, and the truth sits somewhere most of us don't expect. For the majority of authors, making a living from book income alone is the exception, not the rule. Sorry if that bursts your bubble. I'm not telling you that to discourage you, though. I'm telling you because I don't ever want you to building your sense of worth or your definition of success on a number that most published authors never hit. If money is genuinely your why, go after it with open eyes and a real strategy, and please build multiple streams of income around your writing rather than betting everything on royalties. And here's the flip side of that, the one almost nobody says out loud. Maybe money is your why. Maybe it's the real one, sitting right there underneath everything else, and you've been dressing it up in nobler language because wanting a paycheck felt too practical, too unspiritual, too small or too selfish to admit next to, I want to write to leave a legacy, or I write because I'm called. If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. Wanting to make a living from your writing is not a lesser reason. It doesn't need a more noble coat of paint. I want to say something else here too. In all my years coaching and editing, almost none of the authors I work with will tell me outright that they want to write for money. They'll tell me they want to write to help people or leave something behind or finally say the thing they've been carrying. And often that's the whole truth. But sometimes the longer we talk, the quieter admission surfaces underneath it. And they also, honestly, want publishing to pay them. And they've been carrying real shame about that, like wanting money makes them less of a real writer, more mercenary, less pure. If that's you, I want to release you from it. Publishing is a business. Wanting to be paid fairly for your work is not a character flaw. You're allowed to want the deeper reason and the paycheck. Those two things are not in competition. They're supposed to work together. So here's your invitation for this week. Take a blank sheet of paper, an actual piece of paper, not your phone, and at the very top, jot down, I write because, then fill in the blank with your most honest answer, not the impressive one, the one that currently feels true. Now, pause for a minute. Sit with what you wrote. Then underneath it, write down why you answered that way. So if you wrote, I write because I love to write, your next line becomes, I love to write because, and then you fill in that blank too. Keep going. Take whatever you just wrote and ask yourself the next why based on the answer before it. Do this 7 times. By the time you get to the bottom of the page, you won't be anywhere near you were when you started. You'll have landed on your most heartfelt reason, the one that was underneath all the others the whole time. And that's it. Just that one exercise. I hope you get something wonderful out of it. If this episode gave you something to process, hit subscribe wherever you're listening and post a review on Apple or Spotify. I've got more of these conversations coming, and I don't want you to miss any of them. If you'd like to share what you discover as you explore your why, send me an email at admin@alicekreider.com. I'd love to hear what you uncover for yourself. You can also find some free resources over at alicekreider.com. And if you're looking for a community of heart-led authors doing this work together, where knowing your why isn't just a nice idea, it's actually how we operate, the Inkwell Collective is that place. Come find us. The link is in the show notes. And remember, you've got a story worth telling and a message to deliver. I'm so glad you listened in today, and I'll see you in the next episode.